You may be seated, thank you. Did check with FMC, our manager? The program is approved. Well, I learned that today. OnlineParentingPrograms.com. And they do fee waivers, apparently. Very good. They are approved, okay. And that one, they show you videos?
Yes.
And you could do it at your own pace? Pick up where you left off and then finish it? I didn't know that. Okay. Very good. Also...
They take photos of you to make sure that it is you.
Oh, I guess so. You have to have a webcam?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Let's continue.
When we broke, we were talking about whether Goldie is supportive of your relationship with the children. I'm going to show you if I can approach the child.
You may approach.
Interview. Can you read to yourself, beginning with both children, to the end of the paragraph?
Do you have a page number?
I do. At page 6. Now, when this topic was broached with the children, they indicated that their mom is supportive of their relationship with their dad. Quoting Gavin, "Yes, I think she encouraged the relationship enough." Then, when asked if he believes his dad is supportive of the relationship with his mom, Gage stated no, because he keeps trying to make me stay there instead of with my mom. Do you recall reading that in the report?
Yes, but I object.
Oh, what's the basis for your
It's
objection?
argumentative. Again, he's 11. I don't believe he fully understands.
Okay. I'll overrule it. Okay. Next question.
Are you supportive of the children's relationship with their mother?
Absolutely.
And how do you support that?
I say nothing negative in front of them about her at all. I tell them that they should respect their mother. I'm very verbal and very communicative that with her as well, in all communications.
Well, you haven't said anything about their mother to Gavin for
I'm sorry?
very long periods of time.
Sorry?
You haven't said anything to Gavin about
I'm prevented.
mother with guards.
She prevents it.
And you know from your relationship with Gavin that he prevents it because he doesn't want to have a relationship.
I object. Argumentative. You don't know what he feels.
I'll sustain that one. That means you don't have to answer.
Are you a football coach at Gorman?
I am.
And
Assistant coach or the head coach?
A volunteer coach.
Volunteer football coach for Gorman High School.
Correct.
Bishop Gorman High School?
Correct.
Okay.
Volunteer
I didn't know.
JV,
For JV?
JV, and the flag football program they have.
Okay.
do you get paid for that?
I do not.
Do you have credentials that would show that?
You do not. I have I have other credentials, but yes, documentation, absolutely.
What credentials do you have?
Certifications and endorsements as well. They don't give credentials out.
You don't have any credentials on you?
On me?
Yes.
And evidence, absolutely.
Do they make you take classes like
Yes, they do.
how do you be appropriate with
Yes,
kids?
yes.
Yeah, I coach too, so
Yeah, they make you
do
take
it in all the
that.
sports.
Various classes, heads up football, they make you get certified. They go through, obviously,
Yeah,
CPR, all
boundaries
kinds-
with
yes,
kids and all that. yeah.
Absolutely. I have all that certifications in my exhibits.
Those classes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
You
endorsements. as
underwent
well.
the evaluation at Options. Did you talk about your relationship with the children?
I did.
Did you volunteer that there had been instances violence between you and the children.
I object. There's been no violence between me and the children.
That wasn't the question. Overruled. You can answer. If you want to repeat it, he'll repeat it.
Yeah, repeat that.
Did you volunteer to the evaluator that there'd been incidents of domestic violence between you and the children?
There had not been, no.
Did you tell the evaluator that Gavin, or that Gage had accused you of hitting him in the back of the head, which you acknowledged on April 10th?
I believe I did.
I believe you did. Are you sure?
I believe it was discussed, but I don't recall the in-depth of it was discussed.
Didn't you just tell me before that you hadn't discussed that with the evaluator?
The conversation was brought up. I don't remember exact how it was conversed. Because there was no altercation or slapping anybody in the head ever took place.
Well, in his interview at page 5, when asked to describe his dad, Gage stated, quote, "He gets angry really easily and he tries to be nice, like he's mean whenever his girlfriend isn't around." You recall seeing that in the report?
I object. It's argumentative. It's on hearsay.
Overruled. Do you get an answer, Mr. Anderson?
Do you recall seeing that in the report?
Just do you recall?
Yes.
Just the end.
Did you take a vacation to California with your fiance's girls and your fiance, but without Gage?
Prevented by his mother. I asked if he could go, and she said no.
The question was, did you take that vacation?
I did.
Where'd you get the money for the vacation? I mean, you
It
can't
was-
afford to go for evaluation.
It was provided for.
How was it provided for?
Family members.
What family members?
Or family members.
Their family members provided you a vacation.
Correct.
How much did you spend on the vacation?
I don't recall. Minimal.
Gage was also asked about your disciplinary style in his interview, and he indicated he usually throws me around. When asked to elaborate, Gage stated that his dad tosses me on the couch and gets in my face and grabs me by the neck. Unquote. You saw that in the report, correct?
I did.
And are you denying that as well?
Absolutely.
So Gage is lying when he tells the interviewer this in the report?
I don't
Is that
think
what you're
I
telling the
don't
court?
I don't think it's a lie. I think it's elaborated on that's not true.
Elaboration means that something occurred that they are blowing out of proportion.
Correct.
Did something like this occur that Gage is blowing out of proportion?
Correct.
What's your account of what occurred as opposed to what Gage indicated in the report?
He was asked to sit down on the sofa. Don't recall what it was about. It was something. He was upset because obviously he was in the wrong, and when he got up, I said, "Sit back down." He got back up. I said, "Sit back down." I put on his shoulder, hand on my shoulder, sit down. Not rough, not inappropriate, and not aggressive in any way whatsoever.
When did this occur?
I don't recall.
Obviously before the child was interviewed in November 2017.
Probably. Obviously.
Gage doesn't have a good relationship with your fiance.
Yes.
Yes, you agree with that?
That he does what?
He does not have a good relationship with your fiance.
No, I object. He does have a great relationship with her.
Well, He was asked to rate his relationship with Suzette on a 0 to 10 scale and rated her at a 2. Does that suggest to you that he has a great relationship with Suzette?
I object. The time the interview took place, they barely even knew each other.
Well, you told us earlier that you had lived with Suzette for a year and a half.
I didn't recall the
that-
dates.
Huh?
I didn't recall how long it was.
Well, no, that's what you told us earlier, that Suzette, and you'd been living with Suzette for a year and a half.
It was
And so November would be approximately 7 months ago. So he had known Suzette, by your account,
then it was
more than a year prior to the interview.
That's incorrect. So we moved in a few months prior to that. So no, he has a great relationship with her. As I stated, I would have to check the dates.
So are you now saying that you haven't lived with Suzette for a year and a half?
As I stated previously, I would have to check the dates. I don't know them exactly. November to November, it's been about a year.
You got mad at Gage when he didn't have his backpack on another incident. Isn't that true?
No,
Or he didn't have pencil in his backpack.
no.
You've seen the application for TPO that's been filed on behalf of Gage.
Correct.
And you told us earlier you understand what Gage alleged as far as your striking him in the back of the head.
Correct.
And that was because he didn't have a pencil in his backpack.
No, incorrect. As I stated, it was fraudulent. It was not the case at all.
Saying you did or you didn't strike him in the back?
No,
of
I
the
did
head?
not. He didn't have a pencil to do his homework, so I asked him why he doesn't have a pencil box as provided. He should have a pencil to do his homework.
Okay, so you acknowledge that
And then
there
he
was
was
some
grounded.
discussion about a pencil.
Well, I acknowledge the conversation about his missing homework, that he needs to be prepared and have his pencils provided. He's got thousands of pencils. There's no reason not to have a pencil.
Okay, so you were upset that he didn't have a pencil at that time.
No, I was not upset.
You sound upset now. When you're
No, I'm
talking
not
about-
upset. I explained to him the importance of having a pencil and the proper supplies.
Gage also indicated that he's heard you and Suzette having sex while staying at your residence. Do
No.
you think that might be upsetting to a young man?
I object. It's false.
Well,
Argumentative, I guess. It's not even the case.
do you want to see interview report where Gage said that?
Oh, I understand, but it's false.
Okay. And again, this is just another case where Gage, is he lying or is this something that was blown out of proportion?
I'm not sure where he would get that from.
Counsel, what page is that on?
Not the case.
That's on page 5, Your Honor. First paragraph, last line. Well, you told us earlier that Gage has his own room. He's only had his own bed at your place for the last couple of months. Isn't that true?
No, that's not true.
How long has he had his own bed?
Since we've been living in there.
Gage related in his interview at the top of page 6 that there was an incident where you put a chokehold on Goldie and Gavin punched you, and then you put a chokehold on Gavin and he punched you. Do you recall that incident related in the report?
No, that never took place. There was no chokehold put on Goldie, nor my son Gavin.
Okay, so is Gage again lying about this, or is this something that, as you say, is blown out of proportion?
Yeah, it's inaccurate.
So Gage is lying.
It's inaccurate.
Has Gage always had trouble telling the truth?
Yes.
You recall an incident at the time of your separation when Goldie left you and you were holding Gage's dog.
I was holding our family dog.
And Gage said he wanted the dog, but you said no.
No, he did not. Gage was gone. Gage was in the car.
And Gavin tried to grab the dog out of your hands, and you pushed and choked him down.
I did not push, nor did I have to.
So when Gage indicates that that happened in the child interview, is he lying?
Yes, that's not the truth at all. It's preconceived. He did not see it, nor did he witness anything going on. This was stated clearly in my pretrial memorandum.
And I didn't ask you about your pretrial memorandum.
What page in the interview was the dog incident?
Top of page 6, Your Honor.
Thank you.
How would you describe your relationship with Goldie at this time?
None. By her choice.
Is there conflict in your relationship?
She creates the conflicts on everything.
So it's all her fault. Is that your...
I'm not saying it's all her fault. I'm not saying it's all her fault. I hold ownership to my faults. However, yes, majority is yes.
Tell me what conflict you create in the relationship with Goldie.
Currently none.
Okay. In the past, what conflict have you created in the relationship with Goldie?
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative.
It's an open-ended question. What conflict do you create?
Correct.
Overruled. You have to answer.
I'm sorry?
It's an open-ended question. He asked you what conflict do you... Was it what? You repeat the question.
Okay.
I overruled it, so he has to answer it.
So, in the past, what conflict have you created in the relationship with Goldie?
That I created? I don't believe I created any. I believe conflicts were mutual. Let me rephrase that.
Well, what have you done to create mutual conflict in the relationship?
I disagree with Gavin's schooling.
Gavin goes to LVA,
Correct.
and you understand that Gavin's preference is to go to LVA, correct?
Objective, argumentative. I don't know what his preference is, neither do you.
Sustained.
So you've never discussed with Gavin what his preference would be as far as what school he would go to?
Have I never discussed it? No, I discussed it, and his preference was Gorman, where he was enrolled. After that took place, all the incidents spelt out in all my exhibits.
There were occasions after the divorce when you would drop off Gage early from the time that you were to exchange him with Goldie. Isn't that true?
I was in best interest of the child at that time and moment, and agreed by both parties.
My question was, isn't that true?
Yes.
And on how many occasions do you recall doing that?
A handful.
How early did you drop him off?
30 minutes.
What was your reason for doing so?
Football practice was over early, and to get him, he'd rather, it made more sense to drop him off at his mom's with travel and distance 10, 15 minutes prior to than waiting till 9 o'clock. And we both agreed, and there was no conflict there.
Well, there was an occasion where you dropped Gage off at the curb of Goldie's residence and told him to take the dogs. You recall that?
Yes.
And when was that?
It's in one of my exhibits. I don't recall the exact date.
Can you approximate the date when you did that?
I cannot, because it's part of my exhibits.
And you did that after Goldie had told you numerous times in an email she could not take the dogs.
There was mutual conversations about the dogs, and her statements were as drop Gage off at the gate, no other conversation needed. It's presented in the exhibits. But yes, there is differences with the dogs.
Okay. I'm going to ask you yes or no because you didn't answer the question I asked you. Yes or no, you dropped off these dogs at her curb after she had told you numerous times in your communications she could not take the dogs.
Objection, just argumentative.
Overruled. That's a yes or no.
Yes.
You dropped off the dogs at Mom's house?
Directed by her, yes. With Gage.
You just told us that you dropped off the dogs despite her telling you numerous times.
She also
She could not take the dogs.
Not take the dogs?
She also stated that she could previously. Went both ways.
Well,
She live in an apartment or a house?
She
At
lived
that
in
time?
we both lived in an apartment.
The apartments.
she was living in a guard-gated community.
And it was also ordered in the divorce decree that the dogs are to travel with the children.
Sir, I'm asking you a question. She was living in a guard-gated community, correct?
Correct.
Her last communications to you had been that she could not take the dogs, correct?
Incorrect.
So her last communications to you were to take the dogs?
No other conversation is needed, is what she stated.
You dropped the dogs off with Gage without Goldie being there. Isn't that true?
No. From her conversation, she would be there.
You didn't see her there, did you?
I never saw her.
What kind of dogs were they?
Shih Tzus.
Little dogs?
They were stated in the degree there's to travel back and forth.
Didn't the guard supervisor at the gate have to supervise Gage and dogs until Goldie could get home?
Not to my knowledge, no. She stated in her communication, drop Gage off, no other conversation is needed.
Goldie had to come home a number of times early from work because of you dropping Gage off early. Isn't that
Incorrect. She worked from home
what period of time are you talking about?
anytime.
Can you give us any examples where you've cooperated with Goldie to try to meet the needs of the children?
Every communication, I've asked for cooperation.
I'm asking for a specific example.
Holidays, spring breaks, 4th of July's, everything. I've asked her to get along and cooperate.
No, I'm asking for an example of anything you've done in an effort to cooperate with her concerning the children.
Dropped Gage off early, in the best interest of him, at times.
For your convenience.
And watched the children for her convenience as well, when she couldn't.
You mentioned spring break. You've kept engaged for the entire spring break, contrary to the schedule. Isn't that true?
It was agreed that she have him last year and I have him this year.
Isn't that true? You did that.
Correct. It was agreed in writing in my exhibits.
Have you ever had a mental health evaluation?
I'm sorry?
You ever had a mental health evaluation?
Objection, Your Honor. Serves no purpose. Argumentative.
Parenting overruled, yes or no?
Um,
Mental health, through court or through any
source?
no.
evaluation?
No.
Are you sure? Why would you object to that question?
You know,
if
like-
the answer is no?
They have psychological tests for police academy, or
Oh, yeah, I have. Absolutely. Back in Indianapolis.
what's it for?
Fire Department.
You applied for fire department?
Since then?
Yeah.
None?
Not to my knowledge, no.
You don't work with Gage on his schoolwork, do you?
I do.
Do you recall that Gage was asked that in the child interview?
Sure, if you say it's in there, it's in there.
Well, it's at page 2 under the heading School. It says Gage stated his mom is involved in his schooling. He didn't mention anything about you.
I have exhibits proving otherwise.
As far as Connors versus Roberts School, you understand that Gage indicated that he had a preference for Roberts in his interview.
Yes.
And you still wanted to make him go to Connors.
It was after the fact. Which I did not dispute or file anything back with the court. I gave him an opportunity.
Well, and you told us a little bit ago that Gavin wanted to go to Gorman.
He did.
And when we look at what Gavin told the interviewer at page 2, he indicates in the 11th grade at Las Vegas Academy, asked how he likes LVA, he said, quote, "It's pretty great. I've wanted to go there since 7th grade." Gavin stated he previously attended Bishop Gorman for 9th grade, which he did not like. "I did not want to go there. It got expensive. It's my dad's decision, not mine." So Gavin told the interviewer something quite different from what you're telling this court, didn't he?
Keyword is expensive. He felt guilty for going to a school.
Well, no,
That was
you've
expensive.
objected before that you didn't know what he was thinking, so that goes both ways, doesn't it?
I'm repeating what he stated.
And that would be hearsay. But what he stated in the interview was he's always wanted to go to LVA since 7th grade, went to Gorman, it was your decision. Correct?
After the fact of all exhibits attached. I object. Proving otherwise.
I'll overrule it.
Gavin also stated at page 3 of the report that his mom is involved in his schooling. And again, he didn't mention you, but you haven't seen him for his schooling for some time, correct?
Correct.
Now, when we look at the drug test that you submitted to following the April 10th, 2018 hearing, you recall that request being made in court that day, correct?
Correct.
And your response was to ask the court if you could do it next week. You recall that?
I don't recall. I had things scheduled after that date that I had to get to.
Okay, what did you have scheduled after court that would indicate to you that you would request to take the drug test the next week?
I had something with the football team.
what something with the football team?
Time practices.
So that was April 10 at about 10 o'clock. That hearing started. When did you have practice? Did you have practice in the afternoon of April 10?
At the high school. Yes.
And wasn't football season over?
No.
So they're still playing football in April. Before reporting for your drug tests, you stopped and got a haircut. Isn't that true?
It's false.
You told the court at the time that the drug test was requested that you had nothing in your system. Do you recall making that request or that declaration to the court?
I object, Your Honor. Argumentative.
Oh, overruled.
I
Just
should.
what you recollect.
Yeah, I don't recollect.
You don't recall?
Your Honor,
I
can
recall the fact that I don't believe I do. That's it.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the court make as a court exhibit the JABS recording of that hearing, and I can cite the court to.
You actually have the video site?
I've looked at the video, and I can give you the video sites where he made those representations.
One of your exhibits would have to be in electronic form,
Yeah, okay, we can
but it is
copy that.
part of the record.
I think the court can make it its own.
We treat it just like pleadings, so some judges don't admit pleadings as exhibits. Okay, let's make a record. Whatever statements he made, what hearing, and the video site. Do you have that?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay, that's all I need then.
April 10th, calendar call 2018.
Calendar call. Video, Jabs video.
10:34, he represented he had no medical prescriptions, 0 in his system, and at 10:24:25,
Was the first one 10:34?
10:34:50.
10:34:50, and then you said at 10:24 to 25.
And that was actually on something else here, but
Okay.
I'll if the court can make that exhibit, I will.
Get me the correct video sites tomorrow?
Just,
That's fine.
the video site I gave you is correct, but I think there's more.
Counsel to get additional video sites, possibly. Okay.
And
It's 4:54. You want to finish up the topic,
I
or
can finish
just?
up the topic.
Okay, so we're on the topic of drug testing.
Right.
Your Honor, can I request a time that I did take the test from the center, because there's no way I could have got a haircut. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Did we give you a copy of the drug test? If you look on the upper right-hand corner, it'll tell you the date you checked, the time you actually walked in and checked in.
Your
Drug test. Do I have the drug test? Right now, when you walked in. So you know, and then from the time we finished court on the video, tells what time we logged off in court. Date collected, no, date reported, date received, collected, 11:12 a.m. That's when you gave your sample.
No way I could have got a haircut. There's no place around.
you,
It's relevant.
Write that down. You can testify to that on your cross-examination of yourself.
you told the court on that date when the drug test was requested that you had prescriptions, but you weren't taking them. Do you recall that?
I recall.
Court what?
You told the court that you had prescriptions, but you weren't taking them.
I don't recall that. I recall stating that I do have prescriptions. I take them as needed, and it's been some time in between needing them.
So you recall telling the court that it had been some time since you had taken these medications.
And it's not what I. No, that's that. I object. That's argumentative. I believe I said there has been some time.
Overruled, you can answer.
There's been some time in between that I've been taking them
How much time in between?
as needed. Serves no.
Well, the drug test represented that you had a positive finding for hydrocodone,
Okay.
and hydromorphone?
It's prescribed for my doctor by my medical condition, which is not in case of this trial. Serves no purpose, nor does it have any relation to my parenting abilities.
You've had drug issues in the past.
Alleged. No, I have not.
Celebrate Recovery, you recall going
No.
there.
No.
2012,
No. I went to a Christian men's group.
called Celebrate Recovery.
It was called Central Christian Church. That's part of the programs, but I did not attend that particular program. To a men's Bible study.
Celebrate recovery. Recovery is for...
Multiple issues. It's for divorce, drug and alcohol, and multiple issues. However, the group that I attended was a men's group, proven in documents provided and exhibits.
You had a drug test back in 2012. You recall that? You tested positive for opiates.
Been under doctor's supervision, absolutely.
Well, if I can approach the witness.
You may approach.
Signing sheet that he had. The one where he filled it out, it said drug defendants.
You really gotta shut that. Really got, yeah, hold
Okay.
that thought.
We'll resume in the
Tell you
motion.
what, yeah, you gotta clean up your desk. But if you want to leave it like that, take your valuables with you. We just lock it for overnight, so
That's
you can
okay.
leave your stuff instead of
Back
packing
up
it.
very
'cause-
quickly.
But we have a 9 o'clock tomorrow. Who's our 9 o'clock?
I had it at 9:30, but
No, I have a 9 o'clock return. A CMC. Who is it? Who? News. Some 5-minute CMC pro per. No, Smith and Levitt. Is that your case? Which Smith?
doesn't ring a bell. What's the party's
Could
name?
be James Smith. I don't know. Yep, it is James Smith and Brandon Levitt. Just the CMC. Click parties, tabs. Yeah, we're gonna get at this. Sir, you may step down. You can leave your stuff, but take your, your valuables with you.
I got a
You
question.
leave that set up like that. It's not gonna burn out
I
the screen.
gotta use it tonight for.
You can take it. Sure, just reset it up in the morning then.
I have a
Okay.
question. I also saw a motion to withdraw for council today. Is that
Is it set for today, Ms. Clerk?
We're withdrawing that.
Withdrawn, please put that in the minutes. Oral motion, oral withdrawal, there we go. Hang on a second, numbers?
Yeah, I think,
Okay,
yeah.
I gotta insert payment. Council, Mr. Council and Mr. Council. Funny? Look, I rarely do this, but I have a few pages of notes. He's sitting up there, he's trying to answer your questions, and I'm trying to take notes. If you all want my trial notes, this is just, it's just rehashed, so he
For-
can
for what
identify the
purpose?
topic areas. He's got to prepare his cross-examination, he's representing himself.
Whatever the court's preference is.
Okay. I'll give you my notes. Doesn't have any of my deep thoughts and feelings in there. I just take down what I think is important.
You want to just bring it tomorrow?
Would you like that,
Yes,
Dad?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me print it. I gotta put page numbers in here though. Insert page number. Bottom of the page.
So he knows what topics.
All right. I make sure both sides get a copy.
So you take the computer?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought attorneys like my notes. I want to know what a judge is taking down is
Like
important.
being inside the jury room.
There's no critique of what your questions you're answering. I just put down what I think I should put down in there. Sometimes it's verbatim. How many sets? There's one there. Give me that. Give Dad. 3 pages? 3. Yeah, for a main witness, that's about average. All right, move quickly. We're not paying overtime for this.
See you back at 9:30?
9:30. We'll on time. My 9 o'clock will be done in 5 minutes. So you want to come in early, set up your audio visual. Dad, also, if you want to do that, that's fine with me also.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, but our courtroom will be open at 9 a.m. Let me log out. Okay. Kendall, thank you. Who I got tomorrow?
Me?
Good. Good. Got 2 more minutes?
No.
What are you going to do them during the trial?
Yeah, I'll try not to disturb you.